Commissioner Emery, if you would lead us in the invocation.
We beseech you, Heavenly Father, to save and defend our county, our state, and our nation. As we conduct our business as local officials, we beg you to give us the wisdom and strength to know and do it according to your will, and to act on our official duties in a thoughtful and civil manner. We ask this in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Give her to be seated, please. This time, Madam Clerk du jour, if you would do a roll call.
Okay, our Commissioner Webster and Commissioner Johnson excused.
I'm sorry, I did not hear you.
Our Commissioner Webster and Commissioner Johnson excused.
They are.
Okay, thank you. So Commissioner Webster excused. Commissioner Holhausen.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson excused. Commissioner Garber.
Here.
Commissioner Howard.
Here.
Commissioner Emery.
Here.
Chairman Holhausen.
Roller.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Chairman Roder.
Close
I'm
enough.
so sorry.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, our roll call is complete. At this time, I'd be looking for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I would make that motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Support. I have a motion with support. Any discussion or changes in the agenda? All in favor of approving that agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And our agenda is approved. At this time, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the minutes of September 13, 2023 Board of Commissioners meeting.
So moved.
Support.
Got a motion with support, discussion, or changes in the minutes? All in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. This time we'll be moving on to approval of the bills. Commissioner Garber.
Thank you. I move to approve the invoice edit reports dated 9/15, 9/22, 9/28, 9/29, 10/4, 10/5, 10/10, and 10/13, and authorize the Treasury to draw warrants for the same in the amount of $12,791,650.70.
Support. I have a motion with support. Any discussions or questions on the bills? In that case, I would request a roll call vote.
Commissioner Holhausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson excused. Commissioner Garber.
Yes.
Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Commissioner Emery.
Yes.
Commissioner Webster excused. Chairman Roder.
Yes. All right, that approves the bills. Right now we have our first opportunity for the public to address the board of up to 3 minutes. Would anyone like to address the board at this time? There'll be one more opportunity at the end of the meeting. Seeing no one, we will move on to committee reports. Commissioner Emery, would you like to start tonight?
Yes, I did attend the MAC conferences a week ago, and there has been some state level septic tank legislation proposed. You may have heard about it, and apparently Michigan is the only state in the union doesn't have state level regulation for septic tanks, usage and so on. And of course, we do have the longest freshwater shoreline, longest shoreline of all the states in the nation. But the legislation, it recently had a big push according to MAC, and their review of the legislation. It is not going anywhere immediately. But what it would do, it would set some state standards, but it would rely on counties, the county health departments, to implement and do inspections, or at least to enforce regulations. But the latest they hear now, it may not be, the soonest probably be put forward would be in the spring. Excuse me for trying to talk through this mass. Just for the record, I found out this morning that I tested positive for COVID, and but I'm beyond my quarantine period because my symptoms, as minimal as they were, started last week. And so I'm not, I don't have to be in quarantine, but as a matter of courtesy, I'll wear the mask. And of course, another area of concern for us that Mac's looking at is the efforts by the state, the governor, to push state control of the solar and wind energy projects insofar as zoning is concerned, and take that authority away from the local governments. It would require, of course, the legislature to change existing zoning law. The state places most of the responsibility on the lowest level of governments, closest to people. That is, cities and townships. Counties have certain control in areas where townships don't act on zoning. And that is that, and mineral extraction is another area where there are efforts on the state level to take that authority away from local government and deposit it with the state. While I was with the Attorney General's office, I was counsel to the Public Service Commission that regulates energy utilities for a number of years. The governor's idea is to place the siting authority for solar and wind with the Public Service Commission. I can't imagine an agency further removed from the interests of local government and people. And I don't mean this derogatory to the Public Service Commission, because they always conducted their business with regulating these legal monopolies in a dutiful way, but it did not involve siting power plants in agricultural areas or agricultural residential areas. So a poor choice. I think that belongs with local government officials, lower level officials better. So.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Howard?
Yeah, Parks and Rec, we met, just continuing maintenance, looking at what we can do next year. Planning Commission, we met, and we're going to talk about that on item E, under finance and administration. That's it.
Could I ask Commissioner Howard a
Yes.
question? The trees at Henderson Park, and I know that is Larry's park, and do we have a plan maybe for this fall to?
I think there was a plan for them to go and cut them up. I don't know if that's happened yet or not.
Okay. All right.
Larry actually has a comment.
We're gonna dig them up probably next week, the dead ones, and then we're gonna put some white pines to replace the red pines that we dig up.
Excellent, thank you.
Commissioner Farmer?
All right. Gary and I, Commissioner Holzhausen, attended the open house at Pleasant View this past month for the new dialysis center, and it was a wonderful event, and it is a wonderful facility. So, in other news, I did have a veterans meeting today. Excuse me, and there's been, I'm a little confused between Veterans Treatment Court and pretrial services. And I think the committee members are also. So for clarification, is the pretrial services going to be in the veterans office and just meet with veterans, or everybody?
So at this time, they're not meeting with anyone,
Okay,
and they're not going to be in the foreseeable future. When they start meeting with people, they're gonna have to meet with them over in the courts somewhere.
okay,
They will have to meet with them at the jail, they'll have to meet with them at the courts, they'll have to do those kind of things. Now, the veterans, they can go to the Veterans Center to meet with Mark as part of the veterans activities that he's doing. So there are two funding streams being braided together. One is for the veterans related activities that the VA in Saginaw was coming down and doing, and they were, he's going to take those over instead of having someone else come down, because when he's interviewing individuals that have been arrested before they go to pretrial, he will pick up that information as part of that grant, but then he'll be working on the other information that he needs for pretrial services. Those interviews will happen at the jail.
So there'll be an office in 2 locations
I don't think he's
essentially.
gonna have an office. There are rooms at the courthouse that are attorney rooms and different things like that, where clients meet with their representation, where he will get information.
Okay, I think that
It's
will be
not a-
very
not
good news.
I wouldn't call it an office.
Okay,
I would call it, they're common rooms
right, no, that makes sense,
that are used for that. The veterans will be going down there.
as they should. So, okay, that puts my concerns to rest, so thank you.
It's not going to be just open access to anyone.
Good, that was my concern. So, I'm good.
All set?
Yep.
Thank you. Commissioner Holzhausen, please.
Yeah, you're not going to say anything about health and wellness?
Where would I start?
Yeah, anyway, things are moving along there, and our chairman is doing something else, so Cindy's our chairman now, so she's kind of
Yep.
taking over, and there's a lot of discussion going on over there, what's happening, and they're spending lots of money. And, also on the SED board, I didn't make it to the meeting, I had something else come up. I was on the Shiawassee Council on Aging, we had a meeting today, and they're worried about, they want to build onto their building and do a bunch of things to the Wasso Center, and they want to approve the architect's plan or something, and the commissioners has got to make a special plan to do that if they're going to do that. So, and also I'm on the 911 board, and they were so busy she couldn't handle it for October, so it's going to be in November. So, but I think they're still working on getting their new tower up, so it's going to spend a couple million, over $2 million for a new tower out there in Wasso Township. Any questions?
If I could just add to Gary's comments, because
Yeah.
both of us serve on, and have served on the Health and Wellness Board for you longer than me, but I have been chairing the last 2 meetings as the vice chair. I don't know if that will continue. Our chair of that board has some other work commitments. But our concern is and has been, for the amount of money that is being spent, are we getting the best services possible for people in our community with mental health needs? And I certainly don't think we take that duty lightly, so rest assured we are looking at every possible way to make sure those dollars really and truly are helping people with mental health needs in this community.
Yeah. Did you tell them what our budget is roughly?
More than this budget, it's about 28 million.
Yeah, 28 million.
So, and
Just for the count, that's just for the county. So,
right, and again, we would just like to make sure we're providing the best possible services.
And we're working on it.
We are. It's a very important need.
All right, let us move on to committee motions and reports. Commissioner Garber.
All right, Finance and Administration. I move that we approve the purchase of SOPHOS antivirus software not to exceed $10,165.46.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Is there discussion on that item?
Just note, this is a 3-year purchase that we make. It's down from our last time we purchased it by about $700 a year.
Oh, not bad. All right. Anything further? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Johnson excused. Commissioner Garber.
Yes.
Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Commissioner Emery.
Yes.
Commissioner Webster excused. Commissioner Holzhausen.
yes.
Chairman Roger.
Yes.
I move that we approve the recommended third quarter budget adjustments for wages and benefits, general ledger, and all our other funds as presented.
Support.
Got a motion with support. Discussion on that item?
Very briefly, we have a handful of third quarter budget items for adjustment. Our budget adjustments are getting fewer and fewer with every quarter, which means we're getting better at budgeting. Most of these things are things that have come in like grants that we have accepted. This is the additional purchase of police cruisers that this board has approved, and some of the other purchases that have happened that were not in the budget but the board approved. And so they have to be adjusted so that we show the expense and the revenue side. It balances to net zero, so there's no change in the budget.
Very good. Any other questions or discussion? In that case, I'd call for roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner Webster excused, Commissioner Holzhausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson excused, Chairman Broder.
Yes.
I move that we approve the 2023 drain assessments as proposed.
Support.
Motion with support. Further discussion on that item?
This is the annual request from the Drain Commissioner for his assessments that are both at large and regular, spread across all the county drains.
Any further? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner Webster excused, Commissioner Holzhausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson excused, Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Chairman Broder.
Yes.
I move that we approve the apportionment report and direct the spread of taxes in terms of millage rates to be spread on taxable value.
Support.
Motion with support.
So briefly, in the last couple of meetings, you have approved the amounts to be levied. This is against the actual value and shows what the mills actually will be against the taxes collected. It's another state form that you approved.
Anything further? And a roll call vote again, please.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner Webster excused, Commissioner Holzhausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson excused, Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Chairman Broder.
Yes.
I move that we accept the recommendation of the Planning Commission and amend the zoning map through ordinance 23-10-04, changing the parcel from A2 to B2.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Any discussion or explanation of this one?
Just very briefly, the road commission sold to Rex Wheeler and the Speedway some additional property located adjacent. He's planning on expanding. It's been a major source of economic development and activity in the area, and he has taken his plans to the Planning Commission and working through the process. Representative Pagola and myself were out there for one of their races, and there were a lot of people, a lot of engagement. It's really quite nice.
I missed my invite.
Commissioner?
Yeah, I read in the paper the last race for the year or something like that, there was over 4,000 people there, so,
That was the one that Pagola and myself were at, and it was packed.
yeah.
The one you didn't invite me to.
Well,
Just clarify.
Talk about a bright spot in our county right now.
Yeah.
Development out there. We're all thrilled. We will need roll call on that one, please.
Commissioner Webster excused, Commissioner Holzhausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson excused, Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Chairman Broder.
Yes.
I move that we approve the minutes of the October 16th, 2023 Finance and Administration Committee meeting.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Thank you, Commissioner. Next is Public Safety and Courts. Remind me who else is on Public Safety and Courts. Would you take this, Commissioner?
Move that we approve the request to equip the next sheriff patrol vehicle with all necessary equipment, including lights, cage, radar, not to exceed $19,010.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Any discussion on that item?
earlier this year, you approved the purchase of a cruiser, a Tahoe, using ARPA funds. This is the actual outfitting of it so that it will be a functional patrol vehicle with the cage, the radar, the computer, all those kind of things. Comes from 3 different vendors for a total of $19,010.
And I think if I could add, when we did our budget meetings under Sheriff Carson pointed out that we have 7 patrol vehicles with over 100,000 miles. And I think he indicated the board had some interest in the age of the vehicles, so he did have that information available.
Commissioner Olshausen?
Yeah, I think they could run a little longer. I got a vehicle that's got 220,000, it's still going good, same motor, transmission, so.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the deputies are probably a little bit harder on their patrol cars than you are on
Yeah.
your cars.
We just gotta put a block under their accelerators so they don't take off so fast.
Well,
You pretty much have a different car for every day of the week during the month, right?
Yeah.
All right, any further discussion on that? A roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Olshausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson excused, Commissioner Garber,
yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner Webster excused, Chairman Broder,
Yes.
I move that we approve the grant from Mid-State Health Network for Shiawassee County Probate Family Court for in-home prevention programs and authorize the chair to execute the same.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Any discussion on this item?
Briefly, this is a grant, long-term grant that we received that provides in-home support as part of family court.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Johnson excused, Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner Webster excused, Commissioner Olshausen,
Yes.
Chairman Broder,
Yes.
I move that we approve the minutes of the October 17, 2023 Public Safety and Courts Committee meeting.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Any discussion on those minutes? All in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes are approved. Thank you, Commissioner Emery. Commissioner Garber, back to you for Health and Human Services.
Thank you. I move that we approve the grant agreement between the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Shiawassee County Health Department for essential local public health services in the amount of $1,473,298 for a period of 10/1/23 through 9/30/24 and authorize the board chair to execute the contract.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Any discussion on this, questions?
Briefly, this grant and the next grant make up a bulk of the funding that operates the health department. One involves school nurses, the other involves the emerging threats and other activities that they conduct.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner Webster excused, Commissioner Olshausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson excused, Chairman Broder,
Yes.
I move that we approve the grant agreement between the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Shiawassee County Health Department for public health services, emerging threats in the amount of $1,611,718 for a period of 10/1/23 through 9/30/24 and authorize the board chair to execute the contract.
Support.
Motion with support. Further discussion on that item? Pretty much, as he said. Yes, Commissioner Olshausen.
Are those about the same, or?
They're up over last year, increase in both of them, a couple $100,000 in one, and then the nursing grant is up quite a bit, but that one is not guaranteed to be renewed for next year. So that's the one that we're gonna really make a big push for.
Thanks.
Anything else? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner Webster excused, Commissioner Olshausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson excused, Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Chairman Broder,
Yes.
I move that we approve the minutes of the October 17th, 2023 Health and Human Services Committee meeting.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Any further discussion on those minutes? All in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Thank you, Commissioner Garber. This time, comments from myself. Don't have much. I want to again echo my appreciation for everybody who was involved in getting the courthouse across street moved and then moved back in. While we had some minor glitches, they were definitely minor. Everybody's hard work paid off. There are too many people at this meeting for me to express my thanks. I hope I'll do a better job when we do our grand opening at some point in November, a date to be determined. Encourage everyone to show up at the grand opening because we're actually going to open, at least our plan is to open parts of that building that normally you wouldn't get to see. And it is too nice to hide that light under a bushel. So I hope we'll get a good showing for that because I think it was money well spent. It's a community asset and it's now going to be around for many decades. And we will be talking about in the future, probably next month, I believe, a maintenance plan for that building to make sure that in the coming years and decades it does not fall into disrepair. Just a little bit of an ounce of prevention will definitely be worth the amount if you're here. I also wanted to mention, I think since our last meeting, didn't we have that township meeting on blight since our last meeting?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, I wanted to mention that Dr. Boggs and Commissioner Garber, I forget who else was there, went to
Commissioner Emery.
Commissioner Emery was there, yes, thank you. Went to a township, general township meeting, and Dr. Boggs explained, and I think the townships were very appreciative of who has the responsibility and the authority for blight. And I think the townships, some of them did not realize that they have what's called the police authority. That is, they have the ability to pass ordinances and to, in effect, enforce blight, not the county. The county has certain powers that it can do with regard to site usage and so on, but most of the power falls in the hands of the township. They seem very appreciative, and I think with that in mind, in the coming months, we can be in further talks with the townships, if they want to, where we could cooperate. I think there's a lot of room for the townships and the county to cooperate on the elimination of blight, and now that there's a clearer understanding of what the various roles are.
Just as a note, as a follow-up to that, I talked to the attorney for the two townships, who happens to be the same person, and we discussed this in its infancy a couple weeks ago.
Good. Just a side note, though it's not directly part of this, I'm still enthusiastic about what our land bank is doing and some of the possibilities for development. While it's slower than I would like, that's not a surprise, but we're still on track for some good development there. Have we started to tear down the Simplicity building yet?
They've mobilized equipment. I don't know if they started tearing it down this week yet or not.
Okay. I absolutely want to go there and watch them do some of the tear down. So we got good stuff going on there, and as you recall, another $500,000 in blight elimination that we'll be working on in the coming months. That's all I have. Dr. Boggs?
Very briefly, we received a draft of our wage study back. I've been working with Mark Notley to make some adjustments and changes. As soon as I get the final version, I will be sending that over to you guys to review. The plan currently is I plan to bring a proposal in December when Mr. Notley comes and does his presentation for you, and any changes that will be made will be reflected in the January 1 budget. That leads to the next part, which is the budget. We are almost done with all of our budget meetings. We have one last department to meet with, and then Tracy and myself will finish off the budget. You will get a copy of that for your first reading and review in November, for your approval in December, for implementation then in January.
Dr. Boggs, if I may interrupt you, I was remiss to not mention that Commissioner Garber and myself attended probably the majority of the budget meetings, the department heads, and I got to compliment yourself, our finance director, and the heads of our departments. I thought it was remarkably smooth compared to some of the stories that Commissioner Garber and others have told me about how things went prior to your tenure. So definitely some thumbs up on that one. So
Thank you very
go
much.
ahead.
Well, if I could add, I think that it's not just at budget time. Tracy is monitoring that as evidenced by our budget adjustments and Dr. Boggs, but it's the work throughout the year that they're doing that leads up to budget time, making it much smoother, so.
Well, it's just that something that used to be more like harvest time in the old Soviet Union, where it was a national emergency, is now smooth and hardly a ripple on the pond these days. I'm just, by comparison, I'm
Right.
just so impressed with how it's gone.
Last couple of things, we're finishing up a few things at the courthouse. You can see that they're working on some landscaping, some exterior things. We have a couple of light fixtures that have not come in yet because they're back ordered. They will be coming in shortly. The lights are now on for the outside of the building as of last night. So if you haven't got a chance to see it at night, I would recommend driving by it. It looks quite nice. And as Chairman Roder mentioned, we will be having an open house that we'll be planning in November. I want to make sure those light fixtures come in and are replaced, and then work with the courts and everyone else to have a day where the offices will be open so people can walk beyond just the public entryway and see the totality of what we've done. Last but not least, Commissioner Garber and myself have been working with an assessor for a presentation coming soon. We'll be getting some dates either to do as a special meeting or before one of our meetings in the coming months to talk about assessing.
Do the lights go off and on automatically then?
Yep.
How long do they stay on, or don't you know
It's
yet?
got a sensor.
Oh,
So, and we got a sensor, or we can use timing. So they come on at dusk,
and then they stay on for how long?
and then they go off at sunrise.
Oh, they stay on all night?
Mhm.
Oh, I thought maybe it's only be on a couple hours or something.
They're all LED lighting, so they cost almost nothing to leave on.
Oh, okay, I just,
Yeah, we're leaving them on, and it looks, I'll show you a photo, it looks really nice.
Apparently, with our new lighting and some other things, we're gonna save a significant amount on our energy over there, including, we're getting some rebates because we have installed that. So there's a fairly significant money savings going on.
Yeah, we will be getting a rebate from consumers on all of our upgrades to the courthouse. So as soon as those are processed, I'll be sending you the paperwork to show you what we received back from them. But it is a fairly good chunk of money as part of these energy efficiency and lightings and savings programs that they have. That's all I have.
All right, this would be the second opportunity for the public. I have one slip up here, Michael Carr.
Yes, sir, thank you. Michael Carr from Corona. Yesterday I got an email forwarded to me that was from SEDP, which was a housing study, which I believe was initiated by the Land Bank. And it was asking for comment. I went through it, it's a very exhaustive, very good, I think it's about 188 pages. The executive summary is much shorter and captures everything you need to know. I definitely suggest everyone read that when they get a chance to. Talked a lot about the different types of housing we have and what we need, and in a shocking development, we need all types of housing across all income levels and sizes and such. The thing that wasn't in there that I thought was important is infrastructure, because if you put in onesie-twosie houses here and there, you probably got enough infrastructure to support it. But I don't know how Durand is, but Owasso, Caledonia Township, and Corona, we have limitations based on the wastewater treatment plant and the water plant that are over in Owasso that everyone shares and gets from. So if you're talking about putting in large housing developments or large apartment complexes, you start to really strain those resources. And I thought that was one big thing that was missing from that report is how do you get there? Because as we're finding out in Corona, trying to get grants from the different water grants from Eagle to upgrade our systems, those dollars don't go very far. And we got a $7.4 million grant, which we have to match that. That's very difficult for a small town to come up with that kind of money. And it doesn't do a huge amount of repair. And that's just to maintain our current system, not looking at expanding it. And when you talk about expanding it, you're talking about millions of dollars going into all the infrastructure for water, sewer, and then where does it get transferred at and everything. So that's the key thing that's missing out of all this housing money that's coming down is upgrading the infrastructure that supports the housing, not just necessarily putting it into the housing area, but on the back end where everything's getting treated and stuff. So when you're reviewing the plan, if you take that into account, maybe ask some questions, I think that would help everybody involved. So thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone else?